One contest we will be watching in the fall is the Bergen County Executives race. Incumbent Democrat Dennis McNerney is likely to face a tough challenge from Kathy Donovan, the Bergen County Clerk. Dennis McNerney is in our Newark bureau tonight to talk about the campaign. And Dennis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And what's it like? We're hearing, seeing, reading that it's going to be a tough year for Democrats up there, and there are some tea leaves, perhaps, that could be read that way. I'll read them to you in a little bit if you'd like me to. But do you have a tough year ahead of you up there?
Well, what we're seeing, though, is the Democratic team is unified up in Bergen County with Steve Rothman, Sheriff Leo McGuire, Jim Carroll, Liz Calabrese, and John Hogan. And what you're seeing, particularly in the 9th on the Republican side, is the Chairman Uden's candidate versus the Tea Party candidate, and it looks really, I think, closer than a lot of people expect. So there's a lot of anger going on, particularly with the Republican cuts of over $100 million in education cuts. That's really going to affect the people in Bergen County, particularly the property taxes. It's going to go up because of that. $21 million in municipal cuts. And the bigger thing now is we didn't even know this when Christie was running last year, particularly in Paramus, but $65 million in new taxes because of changes in the blue laws, where they're trying to force shopping on Sunday into Bergen County. And I think that's the big issue in Bergen County, and I think there's a lot of anger because of that.
Okay. We can take these a little bit at a time, but I understand the blue laws are off the table for now in terms of budget negotiations.
Well, just remember the Xanadu and the Meadowlands, that's still on the table. The governor said he had a legal opinion, and he was very forceful and direct that he's going to do that.
Okay, well, you're bringing up the governor's education cuts. I imagine his municipal aid cuts, I think you mentioned. So is that going to play in your campaign? And if so, how so? Because obviously you're running against Kathy Donovan and not the governor.
Well, it's all of these are Republican cuts, and more importantly is the property tax rebate. People were expecting these checks for $1,200, and a lot of seniors are concerned about it. There was a commitment that they would not eliminate that. They're now eliminated, and people are angry about that. With the county level, though, you have a great, well-run county with the Democratic Freeholder Board as well, AAA bond rating, fiscally stable, and I don't know if that's going to be the issue. We really believe these cuts are, and the property tax increases because of it, are the major issue.
Okay. I read somewhere where you're proposing to cut the open space tax in Bergen, and Chairman Uden is accusing you of stealing the Republican idea and says, in fact, that this would be an act of desperation on your part. Could you speak to that, please?
Sure. Every year it comes up for renewal, and we already have banked enough money. But the county is 96% developed. We already have plans for other open space areas that we're going to purchase. And so it's good government to do something like that. The freeholders recently passed a budget where they reduced taxes by $1 million. These are the things people want to show results, where the Democrats are reducing taxes, but we're fighting off these large, basically tax increases, particularly with these education cuts. They're massive, and they're hurting Bergen County.
All right, let's go back to a link that your opponent may want to make against you. That would be the Bergen County Democratic Chairman, Joe Ferriero, who's pleaded guilty to corruption and is imprisoned. Or was it a plea or was it a trial? I should have had that in front of me. In any event, do you expect to have those ties made, and how do you speak against them? How do you counter that?
That was a chairman who was around over 2 years ago or 3 years ago, is no longer around, so it just shows a weak indication. The real issue is these massive education cuts. Remember, property taxes are going up because of that. If you look at the last April election, the overwhelming majority of the residents in Bergen County care about education and voted against the governor when he said vote no. In fact, 55 of the towns voted yes to support education. And that's really what makes Bergen County attractive, the quality of life in terms of education. And we're going to fight. We're fighting for the people in Bergen County.
I haven't heard you speak much about your opponent directly. That's Kathy Donovan. She's a pretty well-known woman. It goes back to '96 when she ran for Congress for the 9th District. She sought the nomination, didn't get it for the job she's going to go for now. And in 2006, also, the same story. Pretty well-known figure up there, Port Authority, Bergen County Clerk forever. What do you say about your opponent?
Well, you mentioned Port Authority. I hear they're hiring pretty well-paying jobs over there recently, so that could be an issue. But we're really on our record here in Bergen County with a AAA rating, with fiscal stability, well-managed government. And I think when people look at the quality of life at county government, they're going to see that the right choice is the Democratic team with McNerney, McGuire, Rothman, Carroll, Calabrese, and Hogan.
All right, one of those tea leaves I was going to mention was incumbent freeholder Thomas Padilla. He says he wants to spend more time with his family, Democrat, and he's not going to run. That's the kind of thing you read when folks aren't feeling good about what the landscape is looking like ahead. What do you say to that? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm proud to have worked with Freeholder Padilla, who was the first Hispanic to serve as a Democrat in the County Freeholder Board. And John Hogan is a terrific mayor in Northvale, a town right up by the New York State border, and he understands county government. He understands the crushing pain that people are feeling because of property tax rebates, because of these massive education cuts. And that's where the anger is, with these cuts and with these rebates.
I'm going to give you one more chance, because I just want to say here that to put it down for the record, what I said earlier, whether it was a plea or not, it was a trial, and Mr. Ferriero was found guilty, 3 of 8 counts against him. That was October 2009, but I'd rather not have that be the last word. What would you like to say going ahead as you look toward the fall, Dennis?
Again, in Bergen County, we're really fighting for the residents of Bergen County, massive education cuts. We need, and because of that, there's going to be an increase in property taxes, and because of the property tax rebates. Remember, we have seniors, and they're hurting. They're expecting a $1,200 or $1,800 check, and the governor said he was going to do it, and now he didn't do it. So people are really upset and angry about that. You see it tonight with a split in the Republican Party, with the party boss Udin's candidate looks like he's losing to Tea Party candidate, and so that's going to be a big issue this coming fall.
All right, Dennis, that's all the time we have. We will have Kathy Donovan up a little bit later. Thanks a lot for coming in. And right now we're going to take a short break from our coverage. When we return, we'll have more on the primary races and analysis. I'm Jim Hooker. Stay with us.